The rain was coming down in sheets, mirroring the storm inside me. I sat in my car, parked across the street from our house, a house that suddenly felt as foreign as Mars. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles were white. How could this be happening? How could she do this? My name is Anselm. I'm 44, and until a month ago I thought I had a pretty good life. I'm a software architect, working for a tech company in Austin, Texas. It's a good job, pays well, and I enjoy the challenge. More importantly, I had a wife, Letitia, whom I loved more than words can say. We'd been married for 15 years, met in college, and built a life together. Or so I thought. Letitia is, or was, a kindergarten teacher. She loved kids and her patience was saintly. I always admired her for that. We didn't have children ourselves, it just never seemed like the right time. Looking back, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe a child would have anchored us, filled the void that apparently existed. The first crack in our seemingly perfect facade appeared subtly. Letitia started working late more often. Parent-teacher conferences, she'd say, or extra help for a struggling student. I didn't question it. I trusted her implicitly. I was a fool. Then came the changes in her behavior. She became distant, less affectionate. Our conversations dwindled to mundane exchanges about the weather or what to have for dinner. The spark, the connection that had always been there, seemed to flicker and die. I tried to talk to her to ask if something was wrong, but she brushed it off, saying I was imagining things, that she was just stressed from work. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But then came the phone. One night, Letitia left her phone on the kitchen counter while she went to take a shower. It buzzed with a text message. I know I shouldn't have, but I couldn't resist. I picked it up. The message was from someone named Bertram. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Thinking about you all day. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. My heart started racing and my hands began to shake. Who was Bertram? And why was he sending my wife messages like that? I scrolled through the recent messages. There were dozens, all from Bertram. They were flirtatious, suggestive, and undeniably intimate. My stomach churned with each word I read. I felt like I was going to be sick. Letitia came out of the shower and I confronted her. I held out the phone, my voice trembling with anger and disbelief. "Who is Bertram?" I demanded. She paled, her eyes widening in panic. She stammered, trying to deny it, to claim it was just a friend from work, but the messages spoke for themselves. I wasn't stupid. Finally, she broke down and confessed. Bertram was a new teacher at her school. They had been having an affair for the past 3 months. 3 months. My entire world shattered in that moment. I won't go into the details of that night. It was a blur of tears, accusations, and broken promises. I felt like I was living in a nightmare, one I couldn't wake up from. I couldn't believe that the woman I loved, the woman I had shared my life with for 15 years, was capable of such betrayal. I moved out the next day. I couldn't bear to be in the same house as her, to be surrounded by the memories of our life together, now tainted by her infidelity. I found a small apartment downtown, a sterile, impersonal space that reflected the emptiness inside me. The following weeks were a living hell. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't concentrate on anything. I was consumed by anger, sadness, and a profound sense of loss. I replayed every moment of our relationship in my head, searching for clues, for signs that I had missed. Had I been blind? Had I been too trusting? My friends, Thuron and Oswald, tried to be supportive. They took me out for drinks, tried to distract me, but nothing seemed to work. The pain was always there, a constant ache in my chest. I decided I needed to know everything. I needed to understand how this could have happened. So against my better judgment, I started digging. I checked Letitia's social media accounts, her email, anything I could find. It was a violation of her privacy, I know, but I was desperate. That's when I found the emails. It turns out Bertram wasn't just a new teacher. He was a serial cheater, a predator who preyed on vulnerable women. He had a history of affairs, of broken marriages, of shattered lives. And Letitia was just his latest victim. The emails revealed a pattern of manipulation and deceit. Bertram had showered Letitia with attention, with compliments, with promises of a better life. He had exploited her insecurities, her vulnerabilities, and convinced her that I wasn't good enough for her. I felt a surge of anger, not just at Letitia, but at Bertram. He was the snake in the garden, the one who had poisoned our relationship. I wanted to make him pay. I considered confronting him, but I knew that wouldn't solve anything. He would just deny it, or worse, try to justify his actions. I needed to find a way to expose him, to reveal his true nature to everyone. That's when I decided to hire a private investigator. I found a reputable firm online and met with a woman named Gisela. She was tough, professional, and seemed genuinely interested in helping me. Gisela and her team went to work, digging into Bertram's past. They uncovered a trail of broken hearts and ruined lives. They found women he had cheated on, women he had abandoned, women he had left emotionally scarred. The evidence was damning. I had enough to ruin him, to expose him for the predator he was. But I didn't want to just hurt him, I wanted to protect others from him. I decided to take the information to the school board. I presented them with the evidence, the emails, the testimonies from the other women. They were shocked and appalled. They immediately launched an investigation. Bertram was suspended and eventually fired. His reputation was ruined, his career in tatters. He had lost everything. I felt a sense of satisfaction, knowing that I had brought him to justice. But my victory felt hollow. It didn't bring Letitia back. It didn't erase the pain of her betrayal. It didn't fill the emptiness inside me. Letitia tried to apologize, to explain her actions. She claimed she had been confused, vulnerable, and that Bertram had taken advantage of her. She begged me to forgive her, to give her another chance. But I couldn't. The trust was gone, shattered beyond repair. I couldn't look at her without seeing Bertram's face, without feeling the sting of her betrayal. We went through a divorce. It was a painful, drawn-out process. We divided our assets, sold our house, and went our separate ways. It was the end of an era, the end of a dream. I was alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew I couldn't stay stuck in the past. I needed to move on, to rebuild my life, to find happiness again. I started seeing a therapist. It helped to talk about my feelings, to process the pain and anger. I started exercising, eating healthy, and taking care of myself. I reconnected with old friends, made new ones, and started exploring new hobbies. I even took a cooking class, something I had always wanted to do. Slowly, gradually, I started to heal. The pain didn't disappear entirely, but it became more manageable. I started to see that my life wasn't over, that there was still hope for the future. One day, I received a phone call from Gisela, the private investigator. She had some unexpected news. It turned out that Bertram had been involved in some shady financial dealings, using his position at the school to embezzle funds. She had passed the information on to the authorities, and they were investigating him. A few months later, Bertram was arrested and charged with fraud and embezzlement. He was facing serious jail time. Karma, it seemed, had finally caught up with him. I felt a sense of closure, knowing that he was being held accountable for his actions. It didn't bring Letitia back, but it did bring a sense of justice. I'm still healing, still learning to trust again. But I'm also hopeful, optimistic about the future. I know that I deserve to be happy, and I'm determined to find it. The rain has stopped now. The clouds have parted and a sliver of moon is peeking through. I take a deep breath, start the car, and drive away. Away from the house, away from the memories, away from the pain. It's time to start a new chapter, to write my own story. A story of resilience, of healing, and of hope. And as for Letitia, I heard through mutual friends that she's struggling. Bertram left her, of course, as he always does. She's alone, remorseful, and facing the consequences of her actions. I don't feel any joy in her suffering, but I don't feel any pity either. She made her choices, and now she has to live with them. My heart goes out to anyone who has experienced betrayal. It's a pain like no other. But remember, you are not alone. You are strong, you are resilient, and you will get through this. Don't let the actions of others define you. Write your own story and make it a good one. And to Letitia, if you're somehow listening to this, I forgive you. Not for your sake, but for mine. I need to let go of the anger and resentment in order to move on. I wish you well, but I can't be a part of your life anymore. Goodbye. Now to you, the listener, remember that betrayal is a harsh reality, but not the end of your story. Focus on healing, seek justice if needed, and never lose hope. Life has more to offer, and you deserve happiness. Keep moving forward.